everybody, it's Caitlin. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So for today's topic, I'm going to be talking about pitch contests and pitch parties. This past week, one of my really good writer friends sent me a message. She had seen a lot of authors submitting to PitMad, which was going on this week, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday maybe, I can't remember exactly what day, but I know that it went on this week and a lot of authors participated, and she said, I saw a lot of authors participating in this. Can you explain a little bit about what these are, how you enter them, and particularly she really wanted to know what happens after an agent or editor hearts your tweet. So today I thought that I would talk about that instead of direct messaging her back. I thought I'd just film a video because I want to share some tips and advice and just give y'all a little inside look into how those work. So I thought that y'all might be interested in that. I have submitted to several pitch contests and parties in the past, and on one occasion an agent did heart my tweet for What Lies Above. So I'm going to kind of share that experience, what happened afterwards, and also talk about some really good pitch parties to check out if you're interested in pitching your novel, and also how pitch parties work. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, what are pitch contests? And I'm going to use that term as kind of an umbrella for parties, contests, anywhere where you pitch your novel and agents or editors can like it. So basically, these pitch contests are a way for authors to kind of get a foot in the door with agents and editors that you might not in the slush pile. Now before we start, I do want to say that you do not need to go out of your way to find other extra ways to get noticed by agents and editors instead of the slush pile, because many authors find their agents through the slush pile, and you can be in the query trenches and still get signed to an agent. You don't have to enter contests or parties or know people or have a platform or have connections. You can do it the good old-fashioned way and enter the slush pile. But for those of you who have a query-ready manuscript, which is super important, then definitely pitch contests can be a super awesome way, and I know some writers who have found their agents through pitch contests, and agents have found writers vice versa. So if this is something you're interested in, I highly recommend them. They're super fun, and they can be really good ways to find an agent. Another thing that's really great about pitch parties is that it gives you something to put in that intro paragraph that personalizes it for a specific agent. If an agent likes or hearts your tweet in a pitch contest, you can put it in the subject line, and you can also mention it in the first paragraph, and it kind of sets you apart from some other people. But again, you don't have to have this in order for agents to notice you in the slush pile. That's part of their job. They go through the slush pile looking for new writers, so you definitely don't have to have that to set you apart or to get signed. Alright, so now all that's out of the way, how do they work? So I mentioned before, query-ready manuscripts. You want to have a completed manuscript that you're ready to query so that if an agent requests pages or the full manuscript, you have it ready. So do not pitch something that you are drafting, something that isn't completed, or something that you're still editing. That I would say just wait until you're ready to query it. When you have a query-ready manuscript and you are ready to enter a pitch contest or party, and I'm going to name a few in a minute, but once you have a query-ready manuscript, a pitch contest that you want to enter, you've looked at the guidelines, you see what day it is and what time. Usually they run from like 8 to 5. Once you have all those guidelines and you know exactly what day and time, and you have your manuscript ready, you also want to make sure that you have an elevator pitch, which is a 1 to 2 sentence that sums up your book. And I can do a future video on this because a lot of people want to know how to write an elevator pitch. If y'all be interested in that, comment down below and I'll definitely do that in the future. But for today, I'm not going to go into that. Let's just assume that you already have your elevator pitch, 1 to 2 line pitch ready for your book. So you have all of those details, all of the things that you need ready. What do you do next? Well, on the day that the pitch contest is going on, so let's use PitMad for our example. Let's say, I think it was on Wednesday, PitMad was happening from like 8 to 5. So let's say at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have all your materials ready. You are allowed to tweet more than 1 time a day, typically for most contests. Again, make sure that you look at the guidelines. But typically you can tweet like up to 3 times a day. So most people will do a morning, afternoon, and evening pitch. So let's say on the day of PitMad at 8 o'clock, you decide you want to tweet your first pitch. So you take your 1 to 2 line elevator pitch, you put it in a tweet, and then you want to use the hashtag. So if you hashtag PitMad, then you also want to put the genre. So for me, if I was pitching What Lies Above, I'd put a 1 to 2 sentence elevator pitch, hashtag PitMad, hashtag YA for young adult, and hashtag SFF for sci-fi fantasy. So if you were doing a young adult fantasy, you'd put hashtag YA, hashtag F, and if you don't know what all of the hashtags are for them, on the PitMad website and on most of the pitch party websites, you can find a whole bunch of hashtags to use. Again, that will be in the guidelines. Alright, so once that's all ready, you've drafted out the tweet, you have all the hashtags, it's the right day, the right time, and your manuscript is ready, tweet that. Then agents throughout the day who are participating will go through that hashtag, skimming through, looking for manuscripts that they want the author to query them. If you get a heart or a like from an agent or editor, then you can follow their either specific guidelines for that pitch party or their regular guidelines on their website. And typically agents will specify, if you go to their Twitter account, it will say, if I'm participating or if I heart your tweet today, send the first 15 pages to, and then the email address. So make sure that you look out for that as well. Follow those guidelines and submit your manuscript, and that's pretty much how it works. Again, you can submit usually a few times throughout the day. What I recommend is use a different pitch. So the thing about pitch parties is that you want to have several elevator pitches. Typically for your book, you have the one that you use whenever people ask you, what's your book about? And you spout out that 1 to 2 line sentence that you've worked really hard to sum up your whole 400-page novel in 1 to 2 sentences, which I know is super hard. But for pitch contests, you want to have a few different ones, because if your first pitch isn't working or it's not grabbing the agent's interest like you want to have 2 or 3 backups depending on how many opportunities you have to pitch in order to vary it up. So for What Was Above, whenever I entered the pitch contest that the agent liked my pitch for, I had several different pitches, and my first one for the morning didn't get any likes, but actually the afternoon one, an agent hearted my pitch. So again, having various different pitches can be really helpful if the first one doesn't grab an agent's attention. So some really good pitch contests that I would recommend are Pit Mad. Pitch Wars is a whole different thing, so I'm not going to really talk about it because that is a mentor-mentee matching pitch contest, and basically it matches you with a mentor and you become their mentee, and so you basically pitch to win a mentor and they help you with your query and your manuscript, editing it to get it ready to query traditionally with a slush pile query. So that's a little bit different. That is definitely a good thing, and Pitch Wars has had many success stories, but it's different than what I'm talking about where you just pitch your novel and agents and editors like it. That's more of a mentee-mentor program. So we're going to put that one aside, but keep that one in mind. That's a good program as well if you want a mentor to help you get your query ready. So Pit Mad, SFF Pit, which is Sci-Fi Fantasy Pit, is a really good one. That's one that I'm going to talk about in a minute because that's the one that I entered. There are also many other pitch contests. Oh gosh, I can't even think about all. If I think of any more, I'll put them all up here. But there are so many pitch contests, and if you actually just do a Google search for it, I'm sure that you can find so many. One of the things that you really want to make sure that you do is make sure that they're reputable. One way that you can do this is you can search for the hashtag in Twitter like the day or two before or several days before, and a lot of agents will put on their account several days in advance, I will be participating in such Pit Mad, such and such, pitch contest. That tells you that it's probably reputable if good, well-known agents are participating in it. So do your research beforehand. Like I said, have your guidelines, have all of the information about the pitch contest ready so that you know whether or not it's reputable and that you know what you're supposed to do so that you will be ready for it whenever it comes. Alright, so now I'm going to share kind of about my experience with pitch contests and about what happened whenever that agent liked my tweet whenever I entered for What Lies Above. I also want to point out really quickly before I continue the story, don't get too discouraged if agents don't heart your tweets. That does not mean that you are not going to snag an agent later on or that your pitch is bad or your book is bad. It's just that there's such an influx of authors pitching their books on these pitch contests that it's nearly impossible for agents to see every single one. And even if they do see them all, again, the purpose of the pitch contest is to kind of have a few that the agents are picking out from the masses, because a lot of authors enter them. So if you don't get a heart, don't give up and don't say, oh, this is not queryable, I should just give up on this manuscript. Still query traditionally. Absolutely, like I said, people do snag agents from the slush pile. In fact, it is the #1 way that most agents find authors who they sign. Alright, so getting back to the story. So a few months ago, I think this was probably sometime either at the very beginning of this year or last year in the fall, I believe, whenever I had just started querying What Lies Above. I entered SFF Pit, which is Sci-Fi Fantasy Pit, and I was pitching What Lies Above, so I came up with 3 different pitches for the book. It was a morning, afternoon, and evening. That's how I decided to break it up. It ran from like 8 to 5, I believe, so I decided to do a AM, noon, and evening one. Sometime in the early evening, right before the contest was about to end, I got a heart from an agent, and I'm not going to share which agent, just for privacy's sake. I'm not going to share her name, but let's just say that a really well-known agent liked one of my tweets. So after happy dancing and freaking out for a little while, I, just responded, thank you for liking my tweet, and I went to her page, her account, and I found the guidelines. It was to send the first 15 or 20 pages to her query email address. So I did that, and after a few weeks, she responded to me saying that she wanted to see the full manuscript. So of course, I was super excited about that as well. So I sent her the full manuscript, and many weeks after that, she responded to me, and she had such amazing feedback, and she said she really liked the story. Ultimately, she turned it down and it did not work out. However, that was such an awesome experience just having that happen to me. It was another awesome step in my journey, but it really wasn't as scary as I think some authors might perceive it, or as complicated as some authors perceive it. Basically, with pitch contest, if an agent likes your tweet, you just send them a query. I said in the intro, dear whatever her name was, you always want to address it to the agent. Then I just said in the first paragraph, you liked my tweet for sci-fi fantasy pit, so here's my manuscript query and the first 15 to 20 pages as requested. Draft a regular query, send it, and then after that it's pretty much like traditional querying. The only difference is how you got your foot in the door in terms of getting to query that agent. And oftentimes if you include the pitch party name in the subject line and it's soon after the pitch has happened, then they'll recognize that and they'll generally look at those pitches first. So yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. It was really simple. It was really fun. Pitch contests are super awesome. I highly recommend them. But again, don't stress out too much, and also don't get discouraged if you don't get any hearts or likes from agents, because again, it doesn't define you as a writer. It doesn't define your manuscript. They're just supposed to be fun ways for agents to find new writers and kind of a different way to query. But again, the good old slush pile is very good to authors and very good to agents, and it does bring them together very, very frequently. So if you don't succeed in any of your pitch contests, keep going with traditional querying, and one day you will snag an agent. Alright everybody, that's all for today. So if you have any additional questions about pitch contests or any comments about the video, leave them below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you want to connect with me elsewhere, find me on Twitter at Caitlin A. Lambert, Facebook at author Caitlin Lambert, and on my blog Quills and Coffee at CaitlinLambert.com. I post new blog posts every single Wednesday, a new video every Saturday, and I have a podcast that matches my blog post every Wednesday as well here on my channel. Alright, so before we go, I just have a little announcement to make. This past week, I, along with 3 other good writer friends, launched a new hashtag called Writers Cheer. The 4 of us are your cheerleaders, and if you're interested in that, I'll include all of their Twitter account profiles down below so that you can go check them out. And you can go and check out some more information on my account at Caitlin A. Lambert if you are interested. But we launched this new hashtag Writers Cheer. Basically, the point of the hashtag is for authors and writers to share their milestones and successes in their journeys with the hashtag. Every month we are going to host cheer days where we go to the hashtag thread and others come to and comment and share GIFs and like and encourage and celebrate other writers and authors, particularly people that you don't already follow. We really want people to meet new friends and encourage each other, because writing can be super hard, but we need to celebrate those successes even if they're really small. We already have people who are commenting, I met my word goal, or I finished my draft. It can be as small as I wrote 1,000 words today, and it can go clear up to I signed with an agent. Whatever you consider to be a success, or whatever you're proud of, and whatever you're happy dancing about, share it with us, because we want to celebrate with you as well. So we encourage you to start using that hashtag if you tweet any of your milestones or successes. We would love to see and celebrate with you, and look forward to the first cheer day in January. Again, I'll link to the other 3 cheerleaders profiles below so that you can go and check them out. They're super sweet writers. All 4 of us, I'll link to our profiles down below so you can go check that out. And again, we hope to see your successes on the Writers Cheer hashtag. If y'all have any questions, again, leave them below in the comments and I will respond to you guys. If you have any future ideas for videos, anything that you want to see, let me know down below as well. I always take those into consideration whenever I'm making a new video for Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me. I absolutely love spending my Saturdays with you guys. I hope you'll have a wonderful weekend, and stay tuned on Wednesday for my next podcast. If you missed it, I started a new podcast here on my YouTube channel called the Quills and Coffee Podcast, where I will be narrating an audio version of all my blogs from Quills and Coffee, which are up on Wednesdays. So check out the podcast that will be up here on my channel on Wednesday, and I will see y'all in a new video next Saturday. Bye!